This is a Louie Tee Network exclusive.
For those of you who don't know, I'm Louie Tee, host of the Louie Tee Network, and this is One Burning Question, a series that will take a look at all 32 teams in the National Football League and pose a question. Some teams will have micro questions where we look at the team in its current state and talk about what could potentially happen for them in this season. And some will take a macro approach where we kind of open up the lens a bit and take a step back and look at it from a wide view look and perspective and talk about where these franchises might be going in the future, not just this season, but moving forward. So I'll take a look at each and every single team, ask a burning question, answer that question, and move on to the next team. Thank you for joining me. Enjoy One Burning Question. Welcome to this In the Lab Room exclusive series, One Burning Question. I, of course, as always, am your host, Louie Tee. Thank you for joining me on this program, as today we'll be talking about the Arizona Cardinals. We're heading out west, talking about the Arizona Cardinals and what the prospects for this team, not just this season, but moving forward into the future, and what that holds for this franchise. Is the one burning question I asked about the Arizona Cardinals pertains to the wide lens look and the macro approach to this franchise moving forward. They're on a really good run under head coach Bruce Arians. In each of his first two seasons in Arizona, he's won double-digit games. He's already hit that mark this season, and they look like one of the teams to contend with in the NFC conference. So here's the one burning question for the Arizona Cardinals. What is the shelf life of this Arizona Cardinals team as constructed? Now, it's a simple question to just ask, can the Arizona Cardinals win the Super Bowl? No, that's a really vague question, because you could ask that about several teams this season, Panthers and the Packers in the NFC to go along with this Cardinals football team in the AFC, Denver, New England, Cincinnati, the list goes on and on and on. At the end of the day, this is a macro question, because I think there's a window here for the Arizona Cardinals to get it done. But once that window shuts and closes, I think their opportunity would have passed them by, and then they'll just be another team in this league. And that's what that shelf life is about. How long exactly is that shelf life? We saw last season how good this team could actually be, and then Carson Palmer goes down, and I think a lot of people had them as the favorite to come out of the NFC. They were going to win the NFC West last year, and Carson Palmer goes down, and then their backup Drew Stanton goes down as well. They're left with Ryan Lindley, and we saw how that ended for them in the 2014 NFL season. So now you look at this team, and Carson Palmer's back. He's playing at a relatively high level. You like what you have offensively. There are a number of guys that can get you on any given week with that Cardinals offense. You flip it on to the defensive side, and they're an aggressive group. They're not elite because they're missing the one ingredient that would take them from being a really good and aggressive defense to a really elite and top level defense, and that's pass rush. They don't have an elite rusher that can get after the quarterback and stop them from having to blitz. I think they're aggressive by force, not by choice. You ask any defensive coordinator out there, they would much rather sit back, play conservative defense in terms of blitzing, come up and press you and be aggressive in that nature, but not have to send 6 or 7 guys and come with an all-out blitz. Because if you can just hit home and get home with 3 or 4 rushers, and really 4 is that magic number, and keep 7 in coverage, you do that all day long. Only the elite teams can do that, however, because it's hard to hit home with a 4-man rush. And if you don't have the guys that can do that, then you have to apply more pressure by sending more rushers. And that's what the Cardinals have to do because of the lack of consistency from their pass rushers. So they're a defense that they're missing a part or two there. But the real question for me is, how long is this shelf life? Because we saw what this team was without Carson Palmer last season. He's what stirs this drink. Without Carson Palmer, there is no Arizona Cardinals championship contending football team. So he's no spring chicken, okay? This is his final act in Arizona. He's been in Cincinnati, he's been in Oakland. This is his last stop. And as far as Carson Palmer goes, is as far as this Arizona Cardinals team is going to go. How many good years of football does he have left? Right now, looking at him, you say, man, this guy looks like he can play another 5 years, but you know how the league is. The decline is sharp and it happens overnight sometimes. And so he could be playing outstanding football this year. And just like Peyton Manning, literally 2 years ago, we were talking about Peyton Manning setting the NFL record for the most touchdown passes. And we were talking about how that Denver Broncos offense set the NFL record for most points in an NFL season, most yards, all of that stuff. And then the very next season, Peyton Manning ran out of gas at the end, and they didn't even get out of the first game that the Broncos played in the postseason. And now this season, Peyton Manning looks like a shell of himself. It can happen very rapidly. So you look at Carson Palmer right now and you say, man, this guy looks like he can play for another 5 years, but he may only have another 3 years in him. And I think that's the target number. If you're an Arizona Cardinals fan, I think the shelf life of this team, because think about it. Larry Fitzgerald, to me, does so many things for this franchise. And it goes beyond just being a receiver. You have plenty of those guys. You have a young receiver in J.J. Nelson, another young receiver in Sheriff John Brown that can take the top off the defense. Jerron Brown is another guy that you can bring in when you need some more depth, and you can have him come in and do some things at the receiver position. Michael Floyd has been outstanding this year, coming off of the hand injury. Didn't really know what to expect from him. He's come back and been the Michael Floyd that we've all come to know and love. And so you've got targets out there at the receiver position. You're not lacking in that area, but Larry Fitzgerald provides. But Larry Fitzgerald provides so much more for this team as a leader, as a blocker. He's a physical guy, does all the dirty work, goes over the middle, not afraid to take a hit. He's everything that embodies winning football, and I think his career is coming to an end soon, and he's still playing at a relatively high level, so don't want to put that on him yet. But again, 3 years, he'll be 3 years older. 3 years, Carson Palmer will be 3 years older. 3 years, Patrick Peterson probably won't be the best corner or one of the best corners in the league anymore. He'll be 3 years older. And so Mike Iupati and Jared Valdir, they'll be 3 years older. You get where I'm going with this. And again, you can draft to try to make sure that you make this transition away from these guys that are helping you right now and into the future to make it a much better and smoother process. But this team, to me, because the quarterback position is key, and my mantra and my motto is, if you don't have a quarterback, you don't stand a chance in this league. And you take Carson Palmer out of the mix in Arizona, who are you going to put in? And I know Bruce Arians' supreme confidence there. He thinks he can put Drew Stanton in and get the same results out, but that's fool's gold. There's no way Drew Stanton is going to provide what Carson Palmer can provide for you. And so we've seen you try to groom quarterbacks and have it not work. We saw the Thomas experiment. That didn't work out. And so who's the next guy in line? There isn't one currently in Arizona. Don't know if there'll be one over the next couple of years. But obviously, whenever that next guy takes the reins, there's going to be a stark drop-off because he's not going to be a veteran. He's not a guy that's going to come in and be mistake-free and come in and play at the level that Carson Palmer is providing you with right now. And so I think the shelf life in this Arizona Cardinals team, as constructed, because it's a very talented team, give some credit to Steve Keim and his group for really putting together a team that can win right now. I look at this football team and the way that it's set up. I think 3 years is the window. Maybe you don't get it done this year, but this team will be back next year. And if Carson Palmer is healthy, they'll have another shot at it next year. And I think even the year after that, if they don't get it done next season, Carson Palmer healthy still, this team will be in the discussion in the NFC to represent the conference, because I think they're set up to make a run for the next 3 years. But you look at outside of that window, if you don't get it done this season, if you don't get it done next season, if you don't get it done the season after that, and again, that is all hinged upon the health of Carson Palmer. But if you don't get it done in that window, I just don't see this Arizona Cardinals team being able to get it done here in the near future. And I think there's a shelf life to this roster as constructed. And you need to get it done this season, next season, or the year after that. If you don't get it done in that window, I don't know if the Arizona Cardinals, who are starving for an NFL Super Bowl championship, Don't know if you're going to be able to get one. So I'll ask the question one final time. What is the shelf life of this Arizona Cardinals team as constructed? That's the one burning question for the Arizona Cardinals. We'll see if they can lock up the NFC West in week number 15. They're one win or a Seattle Seahawks loss away from doing so. And that will give them an opportunity to not only lock up the division, but lock up a first round bye, get them all the way to the divisional round, have that home playoff game, and a chance to really do some damage in the NFC playoffs. We'll see what they do this season and what the future holds for the Arizona Cardinals. I'm Louie Tee. Thank you for joining me. See you next time.